Along the lines of you don't start something without finishing it, we are going to continue breaking down the defense parallel to the offense as best we can the rest of the way. We are not going to do every play, guys. We can't put you through that. And John, as I sent you the list this week, I found myself concerned about, not concerned. From the perspective of like it's the end of the year, this defense is, you've coached some teams maybe across your career, or you've won everywhere. I don't want to speak for you, John. Teams that maybe aren't winning as much as they hoped, and you lose that attention to detail. You lose the burning desire to make that play across the other side of the field. And that feels like where we're at with the Browns defense. Do you feel that way too, or am I crazy?
I agree. I think we're there. So you combine that with the offensive opponent scheming you up, and bad things happen. And here we are to talk about it.
Yeah, this is a combination of the worst amount, not the worst amount of effort. I'm sure there's been worse efforts in the football universe here, maybe, I don't know. But this wasn't great all the way around. Attention to detail, obviously, and then they're facing a guy who does really good work, taking what you do and spinning it against you. So that's what we're going to hit on today. The first play that they ran of the game, play action. I swear to God, John, 65, 70% of the teams this year have thrown this kind of similar play action at them on the first play of the game, where they're taking either somebody that they're putting up here and inserting, or just aligning here and getting out in whatever way. But this is a common theme. Teams keep doing it. And they actually had a chance to hit this one if it's thrown right now.
Mm-hmm. They did. Just another example of how you take advantage of a fast flow defense with your PAP boots. That's really it. It's everyone buys in, everyone's buying run. Their coach should do it. Their eyes tell them it's run, so they're going to play run. It's really not much more to it than that. Here we are.
Well, let me ask you this: you're talking about the fast flow stuff. Are there teams that pull? What are the different ways than fast flow? More of a read based defense, or
Right,
what?
so,
Is that it?
Yeah. Well, the idea is this. So you're in the modern day football. So we're talking NFL football, college football. Obviously, this doesn't go for everyone, but for most people, your coverage is going to determine the fit. So the coverage you're in, whether you have one deep safety or two deep safeties, will determine how exactly you stop the run. So out of that, then you have specific strategies you use based on, do we have that extra safety down in the box so we can play gapped out, so one defender for every gap, or is he up high, sitting on number two's vertical waiting there, so we're not gapped out. We have even box numbers now. So that affects the technique that your defensive line, your linebackers are going to use. So for example, when you play like the Browns do, we call this attack react, in that we're gapped out. So there's an open gap somewhere along the line. So we're very vertical into our gaps, penetration, TFLs, destruction in the backfield, and all that. So everyone's going to be very, very downhill in that spot because it's all about getting that vertical push. When we are in too high coverage, you can't really play that way because there's an open gap somewhere along the line. So the ball is going to find that gap. It's inevitable. It will find that the ball will find the gap right there. Again, this is in too high, so your technique differs. So now instead of being vertical and hard charging and downhill, now you're more of you're playing laterally until the ball declares, till the ball reaches its point of no return, and then you can get downhill, to the line of scrimmage, and start making tackles, making plays, and so on. Now, even for teams that play single high, so again, they're attack react teams, they're vertical, they're penetrating, they're downhill. Even in those spots, though, that the aggressiveness essentially can differ. Some people are more attacking, some people they're attacking, but they're not quite to the extent that this team does. I think Jim Schwartz is a pretty extreme example of this. We go back to there are a couple of clinic talks he's done over the years, and I remember watching one of them. I think he was talking about blitzing or offensive line play or something, but he said that he asks his guys to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. So these guys are rushing like it's third down, like it's 3rd and 10. Call that jet technique or jet mode. Like our eyes are on the ball. We're getting vertical as quickly as we can. If the run happens, we're just going to react to it. But because we're getting so far downfield, as we'll see many times in this game, by the time we read run, we might be 2-3 steps in the backfield, right? So it makes it tough to play this stuff.
Yeah, man. Well articulated. It is a reason teams keep going back to it, and sometimes they recover and do fine. But just wanted to illuminate some of that right there. Another concept we see every week. We've seen this for 3 years of you and I talking about this defense. They're going to take these edge players, or these slot players here, whether it's a tight end, whether it's a wide receiver, and they're going to crack and they're going to pull and try to create on the perimeter.
Yep. Try to create seams in the defense. And we see this every week. I felt like we
Actually, did
saw.
a good job on this one.
Yeah. Actually, there's some plays made. The corner, free safety, Diabate himself.
Hmm.
Um, they did a good job getting where they needed to get to here. It also helped that the defense ran a line movement, pardon me, opposite of the play direction, which then pushed the linebackers or the second level players gaps
Yeah,
one more over towards that play. So it gave them an extra step or two there,
yeah,
right,
good
to
call.
get to their spot. So that doesn't hurt either. But yeah, you can see you're going to motion them away to get them moving opposite the play direction, and then
Yep,
again, we do enough there to get the ball to the ground.
agreed.
Fortunately, weren't so successful later on.
Nope. All right, so looks like 2 by 2. Back to that fast motion into a lead.
Yeah. Yep. Looks like some sort of outside zone type play here.
Yep.
Again, I think the issue with this one, we'll see it in the tight view, is our strong DN has the C gap and he gets cut out of it. If I'm remembering this one correctly. Yeah, let's see here. So we got 91 all the way down there. So between the right tackle and yeah. So that's his C gap. Watch what happens. He gets cut out of it, and then boom, that's where the hole eventually ends up. But you can see just there are a lot of seams there. Like the offense gets a good vertical push on the line. Like you can see guys getting moved. Like the cut
Yep.
happens at what the 28, or I'm sorry, with the 26-yard line or so. So we're already off the line of scrimmage. Right. There's a lot of choices there.
Yeah, we can't let wide receivers block us well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got to
that
get off
happened.
blocks. Definitely have to
Yeah,
get off blocks in that spot.
same drive. Just going back to the play action.
Yeah, this one's tough. I'm not the run man coverage. It's hard to say who actually had which Y there. Um, I think it's Diabate and Hickman. We have the two Ys to the top of the screen right there. So if we get the outside tight end doing that little insert route you were just talking about, so
Yep.
if we're staying locked here, then that should be Diabate's guy, right? And then Hickman should have the inside tight end who runs that flat route there. But instead, yeah, I think Diabate's lost in the sauce, honestly.
Yeah, so he should. I mean,
Yeah.
ideally, you would catch this. Bush would take, since he's inserting, he would, and he does. He travels with him up on the corner route. There's another
Right.
insert, and then you would have a lock here. But
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
good way to challenge your base man. Like teams, how much practice are you having all week with your base look, with your base backers on the field, right? It's a good thing to do to challenge teams and confuse them. If they're going to
Yeah.
play man, let's catch them in man and let's switch release these wing, Y tight end, switch release it and make these two think. I mean,
Right. It's
pretty
tough
good.
because it's really hard to pass this off here, especially when they're
Right.
both on or near the line of scrimmage. I would guess that they're locked here, but because they're not leveled off, like, one further back, so they have room to cross or switch each other. It's tough to play this route. They're going to run into each other more times than not. Now the issue is this is probably a very heavy run formation for the
Oh
Bears,
yeah.
so they can't be sitting back at 6 yards right there, especially if
I
they're
think
going to run
are they
zone to
in?
that
Yeah.
side. They're going to
They're in
you need to set a
13.
hard edge, so you have to be up on the line of scrimmage to challenge your gap.
Right.
But again, this is why play action works so well.
Yeah. 13 personnel them and got them confused. Down here, this is where I think they do such a good job. This split flow action up front here, where you're
Yeah,
sending
that's nice.
84 across, and I think they send this here too, and
Yeah,
then
I think they both cross.
create and bounce. So it's just so much eye manipulation right here
Yeah, it's
to
tough.
then pop that out the backside, man.
Yeah,
It's great.
and then we lose I think that's Shelby Harris right there. Again, he loses his B gap.
Yep.
It's right where the ball goes, and then Harden gets held up at the top of the screen. Harden, I believe that's Harden, gets held up just enough to not be able to make the play outside.
Oh,
And that's
that's a
that.
bummer.
Yeah, just lose your gap, and you're we'll see it here.
And teams will pair this up with 84 here, sliding to the flat for a throw too. This is a
That's
fun
a
RPO thing design.
play action, sure.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
can't
that's
lose a
that.
gap, man. Can't lose a gap. All right, next play out, next drive out. I think. Just want to go back to them going to that. Teams trying to mess with them
Yeah,
on misdirection. So you'll notice this left guard and right tackle jab steps, and then they're going.
right. Quick pitch. Also, we take the fullback, we shoot him out a little bit towards the left, opposite the play direction, and then give them that split flow there between the two
Yep,
backs, just trying to beat them to the edge right there. So I think it's Alex Wright does a good job here of holding his gap, yeah, or
does.
reacting.
This shot by Mason getting up off the ground too, making a play here where you get tripped up right here. Get up.
And you see
There you go.
Jerome Baker and Carson too. They do a pretty good job of redirecting. Just put
Yeah,
their weight on the outside foot and just get back inside.
I like it.
Yeah, not a bad one.
All right. Second quarter. This is just again teams knowing man coverage
Yeah,
and manipulating it. Slide under here. You're not gonna change this route off. You're not gonna pass it off. It's gonna be really hard for Grant to get there.
right.
And he gets
Yeah,
bumped.
pure man beater. Yeah, so I feel like in this spot, these receivers are close enough to maybe call this make a stack check here, right? So a stack check would give you the ability to play a first in first out concept between again the
Mhm.
number 2 and number 3 receivers right there, rather than locking them up and get into your different levels. This just might be a spot to treat that as a stack rather than just regular old trips.
Yeah, I can't be on that same level there.
Yeah, it's tough because we're almost at exact same level at the snap, so we're gonna run into each other when the 2 or 3 cross each other, and that's that. Hickman did a pretty good job of just getting the ball carrier on the ground here. I thought,
Yeah,
like
I
at this
agree.
point, whatever, like there's a block downfield, just get him on the ground, live to fight another play.
All right, deep over. This is kind of fun because a lot of teams will run this either scissor action or they'll call this Yankee. I think is like a popular
Yep.
concept name for this, where you're taking the post and then you're running a deep over route underneath it. I know you and I over the years have talked about passing these off, et cetera. But running
Yeah,
this and then hooking it up is a really fun way to run this as
yeah,
a tendency beater. So I like how they went about this. And I think
yes,
this is something that teams don't do well enough with is like if the Browns are running this, they're running Burden just into space. Like knowing let me put it this way. DBs practice against a lot of familiar concepts, drive and smash and all of these popular concepts. Having double moves built into non-common double move places, John, or um, having different wrinkles off of what are popular concepts that teams are practicing against all the time is
mhm.
such a fun way to go about pass game because look at the space that this
Yeah.
creates.
Well, it's
And
a
it just go ahead.
Yeah, it's a concept beater right there. So what the Browns are doing is something that single high teams will do when they get as Jake said, the Yankee or the post and the deep over or Dover concept. So the idea is this: you're the corner that has the deep over route. He's going to make a verbal call when he sees that route start bending inside like he is right now. What that's going to do is tell the free safety to go ahead and cut that route. He's going to come off the roof. He's going to take that route. And then the corner, after he's made that call, he's going to slingshot back to the deep post, just run as hard as he can, and hopefully he can catch the post coming from the opposite side of the field. So the defense
Let's go
ends
back
up
to that
with
Greedy
leverage on both
Williams
players there.
interception we broke down
Yeah,
years ago against the Vikings where
yeah,
they did this exact thing and Kirk threw right into it.
yeah. Just nailing down the over right there. Now, yeah, really,
And so,
this is
yeah,
just the way he sits it up there. It's just at 20 yards. That's just a cool tweak, right? Because you can see they're getting ready to
It's
think
so
they're going
good.
to chase it.
It's just so
There
good.
we
There's
go.
just so many times where, like, what I mean by this is if you have, you know, say you have mesh and you're typically taking this concept and then being able to say, okay, let's have mesh whip off of this, right? Where we're sending
Right.
these guys
Do this.
back, or if it's a 2x2 and we constantly are running some form of corner and a hitch, how about we run corner hitch and then have him settle and then break inward? Just like little tweaks to popular concepts that teams are practicing against all the time. It's something the Browns have just not been able to figure out. It's not been
Right.
able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Little constraints within the plays that protect the play itself. So
correct.
you see this, and next time you're whoever the Bears are playing this week, maybe they're a single high predominant team. You see that they ran that route against the nail down concept. So now they don't nail it down, and now you got to force the guys in the
Yeah,
secondary to chase that deep over route.
correct. Also, we really hard day for Miles Harden tackling. He is
Yeah,
just really bad. It's got to
wasn't
be
great.
better.